Hello, hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome. Hi, everyone. Look, I'm still in my car. I just finished watching my daughter play soccer. Sorry for letting you in late. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Look at my nose. It's so cold. This is just too much for me. Unmute yourself. Tell me who you are. Where are you joining from?
Hey, this is Tatiana. I am cold at home in the New Jersey Northeast. How's everybody doing tonight? Okay, hold on.
Who else is here? Let us know who you are. Where are you joining us from?
Hi, I'm Anna, newcomer. I'm here from South Carolina, Greenville area, Anderson area, and I'm also very cold.
Hi, I'm Jen Frankowiak. I'm from Michigan, where it's pretty cold, 20s today. Cold car line duty was quite cold this evening after school. But I'm just joining for like 10 minutes because I have parent-teacher conferences tonight on Zoom. So like I'm in between. I have like nobody scheduled right now, so I was like, I'll just pop on and say hi.
Emily, you have to.
Emily, you're muted.
Thank you. Sorry, just don't forget this is being live streamed on YouTube, so you can go back and watch the recording, okay? Thank you for joining us, though.
I'm Hannah. I'm also from New Jersey and feeling cold. I have my blanket around me.
All right, who else is here? Tell me your name. Where are you from?
I'm Jenny. I'm joining from Minnesota.
Thank you for joining us again.
Hello, I'm Donna, joining in from New York.
Welcome back, Donna. I love seeing familiar faces. Thank you for coming back.
Hi. I don't know what my thing looks like. Am I even on? Yes. I don't know what's going on with my phone.
Yeah, I can hear you, Sandy.
Okay. My name is Sandy and I'm in Florida. It's a Florida freezing, like 70 something degrees.
70. I want 70. Thank you for joining us today.
I don't know what I'm doing.
So Emily, I just want to tell you, I've just read your book. And so thank you.
Oh my gosh,
Great.
thank you. Hey, we have to have a meeting about that. If you have read my book, I'm going to email you all. If you have read it, I would love to hear my PLC tell me, because Hannah and I were talking like that too. So I would love to hear your takeaways from the book. So thank you so much. All right, so we still have a few coming in. If you have not introduced yourself, all we want is your name and where are you joining us from?
Ooh, hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Emily. I'm coming from New Jersey. I'm going to mostly be on mute and turn my camera off because it's dinner time. But thanks for inviting me.
Thank you. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Hi, I want to apologize for any background noise. Courtney Freeman from Georgia. But I always look forward to these meetings every month. I learned so much.
Thank you. No apologies. I got noise. I have weird backgrounds over here too. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're joining us.
Hi, I'm Yana, and I'm from Michigan, and I'm happy to be here after a crazy day.
Yes, thank you for coming back. Thank you. I'm sorry I was messaging you back and forth earlier. Thank you for answering my messages though. I appreciate you. Everyone else who would like to do a quick introduction before I introduce our guest speaker today?
Oh, I'm Jessa from Lebanon, Pennsylvania.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for joining us today.
I'm Susan from Hastings, Nebraska.
Hi, Susan. Welcome. All right. So it's 7:05. If you did not get a chance to just tell us your name, you can do it in the chat. I'll download the chat and make sure I have you as participating today. But I want to welcome you to our PLC. If you are new, I'm Emily Francis. I'm an ESL teacher here in Concord, North Carolina. And I just love meeting once a month with you guys. We get together just to brainstorm ideas to better serve our students. I was supposed to be home today, nice and warm, and welcome you in this nice meeting, but then my daughter's game was changed from yesterday to today. So here am I in my car. I just finished watching her game. I missed the last goal, but it was out of my control. But I couldn't cancel this. You guys have responded so well about participating in our meetings and our emails and all of that. So thank you. Thank you for being here. If you have friends, just remind them that if they weren't able to joining us today, we do have our YouTube videos recorded so they can go back and watch and enjoy all the previous presentations and today's. But I want to go ahead and introduce Hannah today. I'll have her tell you a little more about herself as she introduced her. I sent an email inviting our PLC, inviting all the teachers to use this platform to share your amazing practice. And Hannah's been the only one who had said, hey, I want to share. Can I have the mic? Of course you can have the mic. Of course you can have the floor. We all are doing amazing things in our classrooms, and I cannot wait for you to learn to see all the amazing things that Hannah has to show. So Hannah, have at it. I'm going to go ahead and kind of mute my audio and my sound and all of my camera so I can drive home. I'm not that far, but I am listening to you, and I cannot wait to the PLC to listen to all of your awesome learning.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So we'll see how this goes. This is my first time presenting outside of my district, but I'm mostly presenting because it's a topic I want to know more about. So I'm hoping I'm going to end up learning a lot from you all about the topic of family engagement. So share my screen here. So I have put together just a few little things about what we do and what's working really well in my district, because I have this incredible team that's helped me learn a lot, but there's a lot more to learn. So the number of multilingual learner families in our districts it's increasing all the time. In South Carolina, where I'm from, and I think I heard Anna Newcomer say she's from South Carolina too, in the past 20 years, we've grown about 400% in South Carolina in terms of how many MLs we actually have. And it's similar trends across lots of the United States. So, let's see. So Larry Ferlazzo, this is the best summary of what family engagement really is that I found. And it says that schools striving for family engagement lead with their mouth. They identify the projects, the needs, the goals, and then they tell parents how they can contribute. But a school that wants engagement leads with its ears, and it listens to what parents think, dream, worry about, And that's really what engagement is. It's two-way. So there are several platforms and methods that have really helped me ramp up my parent engagement. I know there are similar platforms and things that might work better for you, but this is what's really helped me. Talking points is the first. I am obsessed with talking points. A lot of you probably already use it, but if you don't, I encourage you to check it out and see if it meets your needs. Because I can sit wherever I am at a soccer game, at home, and talk to my parents and have instant real-time communication in our languages, translated back and forth. And there are lots of other really awesome features too, if you want to check out talking points. Also language line. I don't know how many of you might use language line or a similar interpretation phone system, but this has made it so much easier for parents to feel comfortable coming into our schools, because even if they're not comfortable with English, they know the minute they arrive that within usually seconds, someone's on the phone that can help them to communicate what they need. And so they feel a lot more comfortable. It takes away the fear of, oh, I don't know how I'm going to get across what it is I need or what it is I want. They know that they'll have an interpreter. So that's really helped things move along really well in my district. We use it for face-to-face because we can have someone on speakerphone, or for three-way calling. They'll call the parents for us and translate. Transact is the third thing that's made parent engagement a lot better, because we can communicate through written documents that are pre-translated. Things as simple as this is a basic field trip form to more complicated things that the nurse might need in the health room. That's also something to check out. But it isn't as simple as translating. We know that it has to go beyond that, because it isn't just us talking at parents, it's us talking with parents. So one thing when I first started teaching multilingual learners is I think I had this idea that they didn't show up, so there wasn't an interest. But through the years, I've learned that this is not true. A lack of attendance is not a lack of interest. There's just cultural differences. Some of my parents spoke to me and said, well, I just didn't realize that it was important for me to show up at the school, because culturally, that's not something that happened before I moved to the United States. So once they understood why we wanted them to show up, what it was about, that it was important, and we made them feel really welcome, they started to come. And another thing that I've learned is that if I show up for them, they'll probably show up for me. So I am at the sporting events, the recitals, the competitions, and I'm sitting with my families. I find my families and I sit with them and I cheer as loud as they cheer. So they know that I love their babies so very much. And that makes them willing to really engage with me and with the other teachers at the school. So this was an aha moment for me. Because we're busy, we all know how incredibly busy we are as teachers and how many hoops we're jumping through all the time. So whatever was easiest and quickest for me that I thought was getting the job done as far as communication, I thought I was good. It's translated, they understand, I understand, it's perfect. Well, a parent got in touch with me and said, could you call me? I can't read. And it had never occurred to me. I was still pretty young in my teaching career when I started working with multilingual learners as a multilingual learner teacher. And I just was shocked that it hadn't occurred to me that maybe there were parents who couldn't read, or who maybe could read a little but couldn't write well enough, and they were nervous about trying to respond in writing, even in the L1. So I've learned through that precious parent that felt comfortable enough to reach out to me and say, I need something different, that I need to find out what their method of communication that they prefer is. And although it's more work for me, it's going to get the desired result and it's going to be best for students. So I might be emailing some and calling some and talking points with others, but it really has changed the engagement that I have with my students and with their parents. So I love Valentina Gonzalez. You can probably tell because this is the second or third time you've seen her fantastic infographics in this presentation. But I like her idea of powering up the meetings. And what she really means by that, based on the infographic, is that we have to spend time before we have important in-person meetings, really building those relationships, calling, communicating. They have to feel welcome when they're there. And if we're going back to Larry Filazzo's quote, we have to listen, we have 2 ears, 1 mouth, right? So we have to listen twice as much as we're speaking. That's my thing. That's my thought. And then we also have to make sure we provide the supports they need, and then we sustain the communication after. So how we do this in my district, which is another thing that's changed the game, is I survey my parents, poll my parents all the time. I had another aha moment from a parent because I thought I had it going on, because before we met in person, I was asking them what they need and they were telling me, and then we were giving it to them at the family nights. And then after, I asked them for feedback because I want to know, what are we doing well? How did we meet your needs? Is there something more you needed? Did we not do something very well? And a parent told me, I never complete your surveys because I don't feel comfortable critiquing you. And she explained that because the way that we in the United States as a society seem to look at doctors and lawyers is sort of the way culturally she looked at teachers. And it made her very uncomfortable to think I would know that she was critiquing me in any way. So giving these surveys, moving it from pencil and paper to a digital format where we can send a link or a QR code anonymously, it makes parents feel a little more comfortable telling us, hey, I know you're trying, but you could really work on this, or could we have it this way or that way? So that's really done a lot to change our strategies and the engagement there. And I'm getting a lot more of the surveys back because I pester them a lot with, hey, how did we do? What can we do better? So in my district, this is some of the ways that we've really seen engagement heighten. We spend time with family nights, and we've had English classes for families before, which took a lot of work and a lot of time. And we did this for several years, and it was popular and it worked. We had childcare. Sometimes we can partner with like Beta Club or other clubs that need service hours that have really responsible students. And of course, with an adult in the room, but we can do some childcare and have the classes. We've also discovered that some of our families didn't really understand what community services were available to them, and they wanted to know. So we had booths. The gym was just full of booths from the community. And so we had someone there from the organization and also an interpreter paired with each organization. So we had interpreters who could really explain to parents what's available, and they could ask questions and get the answers. We toured our technology center where students can earn their cosmetology certifications and certified nursing assistant and those things. But we had students lead the tours, our multilingual students, and there was an interpreter with each group who could support that student if they needed help as they gave the tours in different languages. Parents loved that. That's probably one of the most popular parent nights we had. They really loved that, where the students were serving in that role. We've talked about Parent Portal and Schoology and all the different ways they can be involved with knowing what their students' grades are, what the homework is. And we always give out bilingual books and books in the L1, because we know not everyone has access to books in the home. So we try to give them that access as much as we can. And we also heard from a parent, "Ugh, all year we get piecemeal this and that and this. I wish there were a book where I could just go to it and flip to what it is I'm wanting. And there it is in English and in my language. And I know you can provide this for me." So we put together this thick book of things from cradle to college and career. So all through before and after school, everything we can find in our district. And it's translated. Our little cover page is there on the screen. And now all of our parents have this. And we have this to give to new parents, new students who are entering our district. We can hand it to them and say, if you have questions about anything you find here, it's all interpreted and we can answer anything you have further. And it just shows them how committed we are to them from the first time they come into our school. And then finally, we have done a couple of times. Of course, we know that we all have situations where we have unaccompanied minors in our classrooms. I feel like a lot of us have probably experienced that. And I've been lucky enough to have been able to actually send to Guatemala, for example, pictures of the child in school, letters and notes from the teachers that are translated to say, "Hey, we're so glad your kid is here. We're loving on them and they're doing great in school." And that goes a long way with the student and with family members or guardians that the students might be with. So that's been a really incredible thing that we've been able to do that's really helped. So that's what we've done in our district, and that's how we've kind of powered things up. I hope you will have some questions that will make me think really hard, or some things to offer that maybe I haven't thought of, because this is something I care a lot about. And I always want to get better, because as long as I've been doing it, there's still so much more to learn and so much more to do. So does anybody have any questions about it? I felt like that was a lot fast.
That was amazing. That was amazing.
Oh, yes. Thank you. I was so nervous.
That was amazing. And I guess my question is, in my district, in my school, we've been working on this sort of binder to sort of put together. I want to see what yours looks like.
Oh, okay.
I think, oh my goodness, I need more ideas. What else can I include in the book that we have? I would love to see what yours actually looks like.
Okay, sure. I don't have it with me, but I can certainly have it for next time. What level do you teach at? Elementary, middle, high?
Our school is K through 12.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's awesome.
Yes,
Yeah, we some things we grabbed from, like, the College Board has a lot of things that are translated that I didn't even know they had. I'd never seen. So we did a lot of research and grabbed some links for parents. So yeah, I'll see about grabbing one of those copies and seeing if I can share some of it. Thank you very much for those kind words. Thank you.
Yes, I'm Stephanie. I'm driving, so I think you saw in the chat. But could you share that book with Emily too? Because I work in the same county as Emily. In our last month's PLC, I think you saw Emily on all the poster boards that we had to do, all those sticky posters. On all the anchor charts, a lot of us put that like a common book that explains everything. So maybe if you could share it with Emily, we could kind of get some ideas for our county to put it together.
Sure. Of course, I'll have to check with my director because it's property of my school district. But I will certainly ask and see how much I'm allowed to share, and I'll share as much as I'm allowed to. I'm in a pretty great district who really does. We do share outside of our district a lot and grab things from others. So.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, guys. I didn't realize my mic was on. I am so sorry.
No,
I just made it home. I'm like, oh, my mic is on. I'm so sorry. Oh my, who else has a question? You better have some more follow-up questions. Oh my gosh. This is amazing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Can you explain more how Transact works?
Sure. Transact, it's just, you log in, you have an account. All the teachers in my district have an account and the administrators. And we have the parent notice account, but there are lots of other things you can add to it. But basically, it's a ton of documents organized by administration, classroom, health room, those big overarching departments. And then there's subcategories within. So, for example, when I go in, if I have a student that is having some trouble with attendance and I really need some excuses from the parent, because you can have South Carolina, you can have a certain number, of parent excuses. So I can go in to the parent notices, administration, attendance, and then one of the options is a secondary note, an elementary note, and I can print it in tons of different languages for families, and just go ahead and send that home. And then the parent, all they have to do is sign it and they can send it right back. Because some of our parents, especially those that aren't comfortable with English, don't write the excuses because they're thinking, well, if I send this in Spanish or, Khmer, they're not going to know what I'm writing anyway. So it takes some of that burden off the parent and makes them feel a little more comfortable. So it's just that, folders and subfolders.
I assume it's not free.
No.
Okay.
I honestly don't know how much it is. Our district pays for it. We've had it for years, but if your district's willing, it's worth it to me. Especially if you're in a district where there aren't as many multilingual adults. It definitely eases communication. Is there anyone that's not familiar with talking points? Are we all familiar with that?
I was going to say, I use Remind, which I have never compared it, but it's hard to switch because that's my main source. I don't want to mess with, something that works, but our school also uses Parent Square. And I've had a hard time getting a lot of parents, because again, if I'm doing it through Remind, but I'm trying to, I want them to get the messages directly from the school and it will be translated for them. So, it's a work in progress, but I'm curious how Talking Points compares.
Yeah, there are a lot of different things that are great. The piece about Talking Points that I like is that if, there's computer translations. So if it's confusing or you don't quite understand, you can tap a little button and the computer tries it again. And if it still isn't quite, you're not quite sure, a person, you can tap the little button again and an actual in-person translator will go in and fix the message for you and make it make sense. And so that's the part that I love a lot, because going back to some of my parents expressing to me that they weren't literate. So some of them write, but maybe they don't write perfectly. And so it doesn't translate perfectly because there's misspellings or some grammar issues, but it still gives them the freedom to communicate with me in writing that way. And it doesn't matter that they can't spell every word perfectly. It's still going to get translated the right way. So that's the part I like about Talking Points, but it would be very difficult to sort of change midstream and maybe even confusing for parents.
Hannah, someone says in the chat that if maybe you're not allowed to share like a picture or a format of that book that you were sharing with us, maybe at least the table of content, and then we can base, the table of contents and make our own.
Tells a story of survival. Tells how my mother tongue endured to this day, so I expect you treat my
Hi, Tara. We need you to mute. I'll mute you. How's that? It happened to me. I know it can happen to all of us. But if you can get the table of contents, that would be great.
Yes, I'd be happy to share whatever I can. Yeah. The whole team worked really hard on that book. So
that's awesome. Do any of you have a follow-up, something you can add? Hannah and I were talking about, we all do different things depending on our district, depending on our own ability and knowledge, our own engaging from the parents. Someone said in the chat, like, we have so many ideas, but not enough involvement. So that's why we're here together, to get ideas from one another, because I'm like that. I feel like I have so many ideas, but my parents are not showing up. So tell us if you have any ideas. Hannah's also willing to add on to her toolbox to learn some
Yes,
that
please.
has worked for you. Yes, please share away.
Something that I've been thinking about, I haven't done it and I can't take credit for it. I actually heard it on a podcast, and it was Carly Spina who was talking, and she talked about bus stop engagement. And she was talking about the fact they weren't having a lot of families coming in. So they decided to go to families. And one thing they knew is all kids are at their bus stops. And so they said they started announcing, like, we're going to be at this bus stop on next Tuesday morning. And they said a lot of times parents come out from the housing complexes or the apartment buildings with their kids anyway to wait. And so they would just say ahead of time, and they might bring like donuts and hot chocolate. And it was that they said in her podcast, she was saying it was just a really great kind of organic opportunity to talk with parents and build trust and build relationships. And I had just listened to that like a month ago, and I've been thinking about it ever since. And because I think it sounds like it could be just a great way to build relationships with families at a place that they're probably already there in a lot of cases as they're getting their kids off to school, and in just a few minutes talking through, being able to talk with them and touch base. So again, not my idea, but it's one that's been percolating ever since I've heard about it.
No, and I love that idea. Just following up with what you're saying, my one of the school counselors and I were talking. We just had a family engagement night, and we talked about if we don't have enough engagement and enough attendance, we need to start going to them. We just didn't know, like, do we go to their house? Do we go to their neighborhood? Bus stop is such a good idea. I like that.
That's a very good idea. We had a situation too where we had some families who, have many children. And so it's sort of difficult to come out after school and bring everybody out and get everybody home and also handle homework and all the things. So what we started doing was for those families when they couldn't attend, when we would have leftovers from the meals or things like that, with the family's permission, we would deliver the meals and things to the families after. And that helped create a really special sort of relationship between us and the families.
I have a question, but it's not really an idea. I have a question. Just because a lot of our I'm hearing both ways, but can you hear me okay?
I'm getting a feedback too.
Yeah, I don't know.
Someone probably has their mic on. Let me see who it is. I'm muting whoever is not talking. I muted you, but go ahead and unmute yourself. Let's try it again.
How's that? Better?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. So I have a lot of families that work second and third shift. So, or even are now taking on 2 jobs. So where sometimes engagement is like, they can't, all the things we plan for either at times that when they have to go to work or different things that are happening, where I just didn't know if like anybody has run into similar things, ways to give opportunities. Cause I have parents who want to be engaged, but their schedules don't work with our school schedules. Or another side we're trying to look at too is we have a lot of families who are coming from other countries where the quality, or I don't know if quality of job is the right word to use, but the jobs they have there don't match the jobs that they're able to get here. That I feel like we're not pulling into the quality of who they are as people because of just limitations that they're running into here. And I would just love to hear feedback on ways even where we not like, I love what you said, Hannah, about listening, but even that we can resource these parents in a way that shows that they're valued in our school as a multilingual community. Does that make sense? I think it was a loaded question, but
anyone can jump in there and help out. And I think we all can learn from this question.
I would just like to echo that, also I have lots of, large families where the mothers do not drive. There's a one kind of family, the father is at work, so no way for them to come to most of the, engagements or activities that we would have at school. So I would love any ideas as well, what to do.
So I found that our Zoom meetings or Google Meet meetings, we got more parents to those, to participate in those than we have to come to our school, because of the same reasons, childcare, they live far away. We're not a busing district. So, but we didn't really expect that, but we had many more parents come on for the Google Meet that we did, that we would do at different times of the day. That was helpful, like doing maybe one in the morning, one in the, around lunchtime, and one in the evening. So we would hit the different work areas or work times when parents weren't working and their kids may have just gone off to school. We've been able to get some time, like administration gave us time, got us subs for our classes to be able to do that.
Wow.
So that's just something we did.
Great idea for online meets. Yes. Courtney saying scheduling meeting early during the day is lower attendance. That makes sense. Yeah.
If I may just add on, this is also another dilemma. So we have parent-teacher conferences coming up for the secondary level, and it's not mandatory, it's only if parents want to sign up, but I feel that a lot of our parents are probably at a disadvantage because the sign up is with Parent Square, which a lot of our parents are not using. So I'm pushing out information, and then I guess I will have the parents let me know, the times at work, and then, we'll just manually block it off. But again, it's the same thing, I hope that they take advantage of this, with a translator to help. I've tried to communicate that with Remind, but I do feel like I send so many messages. I think that that's part of the problem too, that it's just like another, but all the information is just trying to pass it along, but I'm sure it just they get inundated with it. So,
right.
I don't know. Another thing, if anybody has any suggestions.
Yes.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
I am at secondary, 9 through 12, and I don't have many meetings, but when I do meetings, I involve the kids in anything. I speak with the students, let them know what's going on, and tell them how important it is that they must communicate with their parents. And doing that and involving the students, I have great participation.
Oh, nice. What do you think? What do you think the kids are telling their parents?
Well, I make sure that, they understand the importance of whatever meeting that might be. I usually do a cultural night, but I also, talk to the parents early on about attendance, anything important that I want to get to the parents, but I do a project with them. So that hypes them up. And we tell them, everybody's going to see your project, therefore they need to be here. And really, I don't have to do a lot of contact with the parents. The students bring the parents in. So that's something that you guys can try.
I was going to just say that for our 6 through 12, we had a parent-teacher conferences last week on Thursday. So on Friday afternoon, then we called every parent that did not come to the conference. So we used teachers who would have language, call those parents, those who would speak English, our monolingual teachers would call them. But we called every parent that did not show up at our parent-teacher conferences.
Yeah. Yeah.
We do the same thing too. Like if they don't show, we immediately pick up the phone and call. And often we often find out that something happens with their job or situation. And then we just have our conference right there for a few minutes on the phone. And I notice that's huge when we can, like, because we have interpreters with us to help us. So we just take those minutes there, or we find, oh, something came up and then we reschedule. So I feel like that's huge when you can in those moments, because the parents really appreciate that.
Right, right.
And I really like that idea about the culture night, like even where we can pull from the kids. Like I like that idea where they're doing that and they're running it, and even expose it to the whole school for the kids to learn. I like that thought. And then it brings in the parents and just celebrates who they are.
Yes, Tatiana, it was you. You said it gives them agency. Tell me more about that, Tatiana. What do you think?
Well, when she spoke about that, I thought about my husband. He's 52 and he's an intern. He's going to become a social worker by next year, hopefully, right? But he told me, and he's really, he told me about how older students have to participate in IEP meetings, right? And since he's multilingual himself, he's able to interpret for the parent, and then just be able to hear the student and work with the student so that the student can say, you know, yes, I have a voice, I can contribute to this meeting. And that's powerful. And that's powerful in those settings. So I applaud what you do, Maria, in that space. And also, you know, I work with younger kids, and I always tell them, it's funny because they have to be like this perfect student during the day, because they're like, we have 9-period day and 8 periods a day, they have to be the perfect student. And then when they come into my space, they like kind of let loose. It's like they let it all out and stuff. But then they know it's their space and they own it, and I give them that time before we settle into some type of work. But it's powerful for them, you know. And I actually had to ask 2 of my boys, so I'm like kind of chill a bit because they were kind of over the top today. But like, this is your space, and like, that's why Miss Nessa, that's right. That's why we get to breathe here. I'm like, imagine a 3rd-year-old telling you that they can breathe in your space.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you know, it's powerful.
I like that. I definitely, Maria, I'm still in the student agency part, because I did at the secondary level, I just had a café con pan. So I brought some Mexican bread, some cafecito, and I was like, come on, guys. But I did not have the student agency piece. So I was missing that part. So thank you for this aha moment, because if I get student buy-in, then they'll go home and tell their parents. So thank you for making me aware of it's not just me and the parent, it's also engaging our students in this work that we're doing. So it's 7:42. What I would like is for us, because I know it works differently from elementary to middle and high, let's go ahead and break into our breakout sessions by grade level and discuss at your grade level, what is it that it's working at your grade level, and share. I'm going to go ahead and go in the chat, and I do have that document that we didn't start last time, but I do want to start at this time. So open that document. Everyone has the rights to edit the document, and have someone at your team be in charge of the typing. I would like for you to enter some information. So the break rooms are going to be opening soon. Go wherever you feel comfortable going, or if you wish to stay here in the big room with me, let me know. But they are open for you to go. So just hover over the breakout rooms and go to wherever you want to join. If you cannot find it, let me know and I'll send you where you want to go. Thank you, Lisa, for sharing about the bilingual book study or book buddy. Oh, Lisa, I want to know some more about that. Get the parents involved with book studies. Yes. I guess Lisa just went to the middle school, no, elementary. I need to get with her. If you have to go, it's fine. I totally understand.
Hi, I'm Wilbette from New Jersey. I just actually have one question regarding the surveys. I think the surveys are such a great idea. We're actually working on putting our first survey out during our bilingual advisory meeting. And I just wanted to ask Hannah, like, what do you suggest that, what kind of questions should we ask? Like, to put it in, you know, so that they feel welcomed. And we want them to share, and I know we're going to have to build to that line of communication, but what do you think would be like a good initial way to, you know, should it be academics, or should it just be like, what does the parents need, or what do they want to see? Oh, wait, can you hear me now?
I can't hear Hannah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'll put it in the chat.
Oh, she didn't hear what you said. Hannah, I can't hear. Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh, your mic isn't working. I'm glad it worked during the presentation. Yay! Anna, do you need me to send you to somewhere, or you want to stay here with us?
I have a quick question.
Yeah, what's up?
How do you know, as being a bilingual teacher, how do you use your first language as an asset when you have family nights or just your everyday?
Well, I guess it's different when it comes to dealing with parents, and the student is different. In my state, instruction must be in English. That's just the rule. Instruction is in English. We're not bilingual certified. So when I do instruction, it has to be in English. Now, that being said, as soon as I'm done with my instruction, then accessing content can be done in home language.
Gotcha.
So then that's when I switch over. Okay, now that they receive the instruction in home language, but and then I have Arabic students, and I don't speak Arabic.
Yeah.
So really, my job is to make content accessible regardless of the language that they speak. So speaking Spanish is great, but not all of my students speak Spanish.
Yes, no, I understand.
But it's great. It is great. It works whenever they are Spanish speakers. I can just turn around and the comprehension just clicks, right? When you speak to them in home language. Now, when it comes to our family engagement, again, because the majority, except 2 families, are all Spanish speaking, then my meetings are toward the Hispanic population. So they're mainly, you know, in Spanish. So all the notifications are in Spanish, except for the students. We do let them know in English, so they'll know how to, you know, what to tell their parents. But and then everything else in Spanish, the welcome, the everything you share with the parents is in Spanish.
Okay. Well, no, that sounds great. I think there's just a connection when I see those parents, when they know I speak Spanish, they just light up. So I love that answer too, though, about the classroom and when do you use it. So thank you. I'll go into the high school now.
Oh, you're going to high school. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Can I speak?
Yes, Sandy, of course you can.
I don't know what's going on with my phone. I can't see my picture. I can't move stuff around. I don't know. But I wanted to say, Hannah, that I love like that before, during parent teacher conference, the before, during, and after. When I was in the classroom and I started calling, after about a month of school, I started calling all of my parents just to say hello. I love this, I love that. I'm just saying hello. And if do you have any questions so far? Do you need any answers to things? And usually I would get questions like lunch money or, homework or transportation, like the little things they had not been able to ask. And I called my whole class and I noticed that more parents showed up to the student-led conference, to the things, because we did build that before. Because, sometimes as a school, we want parents to come in, but we haven't had that, hey, I'm just calling to say hi, just to see how you're doing. And I think that's a big, big step
That is huge, right? I do believe that. Like, when you have a student who's failing in class and you have to call to let the parent that the child is failing, but you have never called to introduce yourself.
Yes.
It should be embarrassing. I think it should be. That's how we establish those relationships with our families. Just like you said, Sandy, just call to say hello before anything else.
Yes, before exactly.
I know. I think Hannah's trying to connect again, so she probably didn't hear your question or your comment. It says that she's trying to connect with audio. Like, I'm glad it worked out while she was presenting, because she was amazing.
Yes, that was nice. That was good. And we're starting to be a leader in me school, and we are working on family engagement. But I love the difference between family involvement and family engagement. There's a big difference, and I will bring that up when we have a meeting.
Yeah. That's when she cited Larry Ferlasso, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Larry Ferlasso is huge on that for sure. Yeah.
Yes, that's something I would love to take to them so we can think about it in a different way.
Yeah, for sure. But listen, Sandy, thank you so much for helping me control this, being my co-host while I was driving, trying to get home.
Oh, I'm glad you got home safe.
Thank you so much. My husband's like, how are you going to drive and let people in? I said, no, I've got someone helping me.
Yay.
And I'm not far. Like, the park is really close by. So,
oh, God.
I am going to, hold on. Let me just say, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and end the live. And thank you for joining us. I am going to go ahead and add the links to the presentation and the links to the document that teachers are using during the breakout session, so you can see all the resources that they're sharing. Again, thank you for joining us. And if you have any questions, you can reach out at emilyfran28027@gmail.com. Thank you. Have a good day.